Not kidnap, she corrected. I'll call it assisting their future. We send them to buyers in the city. Some people will pay up to 250,000 naira per girl. If we move just two per month, we'll be rich before year's end. In the peaceful town of Odiama, there lived a woman everyone trusted. Her name was Aunty Chika. She wasn't just any teacher, she was the best, neatly dressed every morning, her voice calm and warm, her cane sharp when needed. Students respected her, parents adored her. She was the heart of St. Mary's Secondary School. Girls wanted to grow up like her. Boys sat straighter when she walked by. Whenever a parent couldn't pay fees on time, Aunty Chika would cover the cost. Whenever a child cried, she offered her shoulder. To many, she was a gift from God, but they didn't know what she did after school hours. They didn't know the secret meetings, the names she wrote down, the deals she made behind locked doors. It all began with debt. Aunty Chika once dreamed of owning a private school. She took a heavy loan from a local cooperative, but the land deal collapsed and the money disappeared. Soon, the lenders were knocking. Her shame grew. Her dignity slipped. That's when she changed. She stopped going to church often. Her smile became tighter, and one evening, inside her cramped sitting room, she invited two men over. Emeka, a local taxi driver, and Tanko, the school's bus operator. She didn't serve them food. She didn't waste time. I have something better than passengers, she said, leaning forward. Girls, schoolgirls, each one is worth a fortune. The two men stared, confused. Are you mad? Emeka asked. Tanko glanced at her, unsure. You want to kidnap girls? Not kidnap, she corrected. I'll call it assisting their future. We send them to buyers in the city. Some people will pay up to 250k per girl. If we move just two per month, we'll be rich before year's end. Emeka tried to laugh it off, but Aunty Chika was serious. She brought out photos of students, details, home situations. These ones, no one will ask too many questions. Poor backgrounds, some are orphans. Trust me, that night, a deal was sealed with silence, and the next week, the first girl vanished. Her name was Ngozi, 13 years old. She always tied her books with a rubber band and helped her mother sell groundnuts after class. Aunty Chika called her aside one afternoon. Ngozi, you've been choosing to receive free school supplies from the Ministry of Education, she said kindly. Tanko will take you there. Don't tell anyone, it's a special program. Ngozi beamed with pride. Her mother always prayed for such luck. She never returned home that day. Her mother waited at the roadside until midnight, then dawn, then the next night. Finally, barefoot and trembling, she came to the school, clutching Ngozi's picture. My daughter, she wept at the gate. She no come back. Where she dey? Aunty Chika stepped forward and embraced the crying woman. She told me she was going home early, she said with wide eyes. Maybe she ran away. Children these days. The mother collapsed, wailing. No one suspected Aunty Chika. No one dared. Until another girl disappeared, then another, then another. It wasn't long before whispers began to spread across Odiama town. Chinwe, a bright 14-year-old who loved dancing, didn't return home after cultural rehearsals. Her mother thought she had gone to a friend's house until 3 days passed, and there was still no sign of her. Next was Juliet, bold, cheerful, known for her laughter that echoed across the school compound. She disappeared on a Friday after school hours. No one knew she had been called aside by Aunty Chika and told to escort Emeka to the council office for a student hour. Her mother nearly went mad. And many of our daughters will vanish before something is done, she cried in the market square, clutching Juliet's sandals like they were sacred. Parents began withdrawing their girls from St. Mary's. Rumors spread like wildfire. Some said it was kidnappers, others whispered about rituals, but no one suspected Aunty Chika. How could they? She was leading the search, printing posters, attending prayers vigils, crying with the mothers, calling emergency meetings with the town elders. "I don't know what is happening," she said, kneeling with tears in her eyes at the village square. "These are our daughters, our future. We must fast and pray." People applauded her courage. The chief called her a pillar of hope. The church called her Mother of Mercy. Only one person began to wonder: Esther. She was quiet, observant, and smarter than most. One day she noticed Aunty Chika whispering something to Tanko behind the school kitchen. She saw him nod and leave with a smirk. That same day, her classmate, Halima, did not come back from break. Esther's stomach turned. Something wasn't right. She told her elder brother, who told her to keep quiet. "Don't talk nonsense about your teacher," he warned. "Do you want trouble?" Esther said nothing, but she watched. And the next time Aunty Chika called her after class, her heart skipped. "Esther," the teacher said sweetly, "you've been selected for a special quiz competition in Owerri. A man will come to take you. You are going to make us proud." Esther smiled, nodded, and walked away, but her body trembled. She told her best friend, "Onyinyechi, I don't trust this thing. Pray for me," she whispered. She packed her small bag and followed Emeka, who picked her up in a tinted car. By evening, she had vanished. Another girl gone. Another mother broken. But this time, Aunty Chika had miscalculated because Esther would not stay gone. She would fight. She would survive. And when she returns, she will bring the truth home. Esther sat silently in the back seat of the car, her heart racing. Emeka kept glancing at her through the rear view mirror. "You like the place," he said, trying to smile. "Big people will see you. You'll become a star." Esther forced a nod, but she was counting each turn, memorizing road signs. She knew they weren't going to Owerri. She wasn't sure where they were headed, but it wasn't safe. They drove for hours, far beyond the town borders. It was late when they reached a compound surrounded by high walls and rusted zinc gates. A skinny man in a dirty vest opened it and looked at Esther like she was meat. Emeka pushed her inside. The air was heavy with sweat and fear. Esther saw three other girls, weak, shivering, with bruises on their arms. One of them, the youngest, was Ngozi. Esther's eyes widened. "Ngozi," she whispered. The girl nodded slowly, tears rolling down her cheeks. They were kept in a dirty room with one mattress, a bucket, and no light. The door was locked from inside. Food came once a day. There was no window. At night, men came to inspect them like animals. "This one fresh," one of the men pointing at Esther. Her blood turned to ice. Every time someone came in, she prayed it wasn't her turn. Every night, she whispered psalms she remembered from church. She refused to cry. She refused to break. On the third night, they tried to take Ngozi. Esther fought them. She beat one of the men so hard he bled. He slapped her and stormed out. But that was the turning point. That same night, while everyone was asleep, a heavy rainstorm came. Thunder shook the skies. One of the guards got drunk and forgot to bolt the outer door properly. Esther saw her chance. She nudged Ngozi. "We are leaving," she whispered. "What if they catch us?" Ngozi cried. "Then we die trying," Esther said firmly. She tiptoed through the door, heart pounding. She gently twisted the handle. It creaked. No one stirred. She pushed it open. Freedom was a sprint away. She grabbed Ngozi's hand and ran into the bush behind the building. Rain lashed against their skin, branches tore at their clothes, thorns cracked their legs, but they didn't stop. They ran until Esther collapsed. A woman selling roasted maize by the roadside found them in the early morning, soaked, dirty, barefoot and shaking. Esther looked up with swollen eyes. "Help us," she whispered. The woman stared in horror. "Who did this to you?" And Esther said just one name, Aunty Chika. The news hit Odiama like lightning. Esther had returned. She was bruised, barefoot, and weak, but alive. By the time she arrived at her mother's compound, neighbors had gathered. People wept. Some screamed. Others prayed aloud. Her mother collapsed at her feet, wailing, "My baby, my Esther, what did they do to you?" Esther said nothing, not yet. The elders were called, the school principal, the local police, even the church pastor. Esther was taken to the clinic, her wounds were cleaned, but everyone was waiting for her to speak. That evening, they gathered in the town hall, lanterns flickered. People stood outside the windows, too many to fit in. Esther stood before them, legs shaking, lips trembling, and then she spoke, in full, about the tinted car, about Emeka, about the house with the zinc roof, about the girls locked in, about Ngozi, about what the men tried to do, and about the person who sent her. "Aunty Chika," she said, "she chose us. She planned it all." They all went silent. You could hear the rat in the ceiling. Then someone shouted, "Lie!" Another yelled, "Impossible!" But Esther didn't blink. "Ask Ngozi. Ask the others. I'm not lying. She told me I had been selected for a quiz. It was a trick." Chief Okeke, the town elder, slammed his walking stick on the floor. "Bring Chika here now!" But Aunty Chika was not in her house. She was not at school. She was gone. Tanko vanished. Emeka nowhere to be found. The truth was too much for the town to bear. Mothers of missing girls collapsed. Some screamed so loud, the sky seemed to weep with them. A group of boys grabbed cutlasses and set off in anger. The church bell rang without warning. It was chaos. That night, the police declared Aunty Chika wanted. Her posters were pinned across neighbor towns, markets, churches, motor parks, wanted for child trafficking and adoption. The town had lost its peace. The woman they called Mother of Mercy had turned out to be a monster. But this wasn't over, because Esther, though young, had started a fire, and justice was not until. For weeks, Odiama lived in rage and shame. Every morning, families lined up at the police station begging for updates. Some brought old photographs of their missing daughters, others brought torn pieces of uniforms or school shoes. Their grief hung in the air like smoke, but there was no sign of Aunty Chika. Until one Thursday afternoon, a young boy selling bottled water at the Onitsha motor park ran into a police post screaming, "I saw her. That's the woman on the poster." The police followed him. There, by the corner, wearing a big scarf and sunglasses, trying to board a bus to Enugu, was Aunty Chika. She saw them coming. She ran, but she slipped on the wet pavement, and in seconds they were on her. Handcuffs, sirens, shouts. One of the officers slapped her face so hard her scarf flew off. "You thought you could run, eh?" He barked. She was taken back to Odiama. People gathered as she was dragged through the market square, tied like it. The women spat, the men cursed, some threw stones, but the elders stopped them. "Let her face justice," Chief Okeke said. "Let the law deal with her." At the station, Aunty Chika refused to speak. She didn't cry, she didn't beg. But when she saw Esther standing firm, holding Ngozi's hand, her lips quivered. "You little witch," she whispered. Esther didn't flinch. She looked her in the eyes and said, "You took their trust and sold their children. You will never touch any girl again." That night, Tanko was also found hiding in his cousin's house in a nearby village. Emeka was caught 3 days later in Port Harcourt. In court, the evidence was overwhelming. Esther spoke with strength, so did Ngozi, so did a few others who had been rescued from the compound. Documents, photos, maps, everything pointed to Aunty Chika as the mastermind. She was sentenced to life in prison with no chance of parole. Tanko and Emeka were also convicted and jailed. The town of Odiama began to heal. Esther became a voice for young girls. An NGO offered her a scholarship. The school was renamed after the girls who were lost, and a statue of Esther was placed at the gate, a reminder that even the young can be brave. And every year, on the day Esther escaped, the town lights candles and prays for the missing and for the courage to protect the innocent. As for Aunty Chika, the beloved teacher turned trafficker, her name is never spoken again. Only her evil remains in memory. A reminder that even the brightest smiles can hide the darkest heart. Thanks for watching. Hit the subscribe button to support this channel as well. Keep giving you premium stories. Thank you.